The old man's trembling hands clutched the little dog to his chest as he stood in front of the roaring motorcycles. His eyes, wet with desperation, darted from one leather-clad biker to another. "Please," he said, his voice breaking with fear and grief. "They want to take my dog away. He's all I've got left." The crowd of onlookers watched from across the street, expecting trouble. A group of bikers, huge and tattooed, standing in a semicircle around a frail old man, sounded like a scene moments away from disaster. But what happened next would silence every doubt, rewrite every prejudice, and show everyone what true kindness looks like, the kind that doesn't need words or promises, only heart. Before we dive deeper into this unforgettable story, take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you believe that kindness still exists, that second chances are real, and that love can come from the most unexpected people. His name was Walter Briggs, a 72-year-old retired mechanic who lived on the outskirts of town. He had no wife, no children, and for the past 2 years, his only companion was a tiny dog named Daisy. She was a rescue, half-starved and trembling when Walter had first found her behind a dumpster one rainy night. He'd wrapped her in his jacket, carried her home, and from that moment on, Daisy became the reason he got out of bed each morning. Walter's life was simple: modest meals, quiet evenings, and long walks with Daisy down the gravel road behind his small, fading house. But simplicity doesn't shield anyone from hardship. When the landlord raised the rent and the bills started piling up, Walter found himself sinking. He tried odd jobs, fixing lawnmowers, repairing broken bikes, anything that could help him keep the lights on, but his age made it hard to find steady work. Then one morning, a city official came to his door with a letter. Daisy, they said, had been reported for being unlicensed. An improperly kept someone in the neighborhood had complained that the dog barked too much at night. The fine was more than Walter's entire month's pension. If he couldn't pay it within 2 weeks, animal control would come and take Daisy away. That night, Walter sat in his worn armchair, Daisy asleep in his lap, and cried quietly into the darkness. The thought of losing her, the one being that had stood beside him through every lonely hour, tore him apart. He had no one to turn to. His friends were gone, his family was distant, and his body no longer allowed him to work the way he used to. For days, he walked around town, knocking on doors, asking for small repair jobs. But people had their own troubles. He sold some of his old tools, even his television, but it still wasn't enough. On the morning of the 14th day, Walter woke to the sound of Daisy barking at the window. 2 men in uniforms were stepping out of a van marked Animal Control. His chest tightened. He picked up Daisy, clutching her like a child, and stepped outside, begging them to give him more time. They wouldn't listen. Rules were rules. They said she had to go. Desperation can make a man do unexpected things. As the van door opened and one of the men reached for Daisy, Walter ran. He didn't think, he just ran across the street, down the road, through the alley, until his lungs burned and his legs gave way. Near a parking lot filled with gleaming motorcycles, he stumbled and fell to his knees, Daisy still in his arms. His heart pounding like thunder. When he looked up, a group of men in black leather vests surrounded him. They were members of a local biker club known as the Reapers. To many, they looked dangerous. Their tattoos, their chains, their heavy boots. But in that moment, Walter didn't see any of that. He only saw strangers who might listen when no one else had. The leader of the group, a broad-shouldered man with a scar down his cheek and eyes that carried a mix of authority and quiet pain, stepped forward. "Hey, old man," he said gently. "You all right?" Walter couldn't even speak at first. His throat tightened, his chest heaved, and when he finally did, his words came out in fragments. They want to take her, my dog. She's all I have." The bikers exchanged looks, puzzled but curious. The leader crouched down, eye level with Walter, and reached out a gloved hand toward Daisy. The little dog sniffed his fingers, then licked them. That tiny gesture, innocent and trusting, changed everything. "Tell me what's going on," the leader said. Walter told them everything. The fines, the letters, the threats, the hopelessness. By the time he finished, his eyes were red and his hands shook. The bikers stood in silence for a long moment. No one spoke. Then, without saying a word, the leader took off his helmet, handed it to another man, and walked toward his motorcycle. He pulled out his wallet, "Let's fix this," he said one by one. The others followed. Bills were passed hand to hand. 20s, 50s, even hundreds. These were men who didn't have much themselves, but they understood loyalty, they understood love, and they understood what it meant to fight for something that mattered. Within minutes. They'd gathered more than enough to cover the fine and the license fee, but they didn't stop there. The leader placed his big, calloused hand on Walter's shoulder and said, "We'll take care of the paperwork. You just promised to take care of her." Walter couldn't speak. His lips trembled, and tears streamed down his cheeks as he clutched Daisy. Closer, the bikers rode with him to the city office. Imagine the sight. A frail old man and a tiny dog arriving with an escort of roaring motorcycles. The city clerk's eyes widened as the bikers walked in, their presence commanding the room like thunder. When the officer behind the counter saw them, his tone changed instantly. He processed the paperwork in record time. Within minutes, Daisy's license was renewed, the fines were cleared, and Walter's record was wiped clean. But the story didn't end there. When they stepped outside, the leader asked Walter if he needed help with anything else. Walter hesitated, then admitted that his home was falling apart. The roof leaked, the walls were crumbling, and he hadn't had proper heating in months. The bikers looked at each other again without discussion. They nodded. The very next day, the reapers showed up at Walter's little house with tools, paint, and lumber. They repaired his roof, fixed the fence, cleaned the yard, and even built Daisy a brand new doghouse with her name painted across the front. The old man watched from his porch, his eyes wide with disbelief as the noise of hammers and laughter filled the air, the kind of sound his home hadn't heard in years. For the first time in a long while, Walter didn't feel invisible. He felt seen. When the work was done, the leader sat beside him on the porch, lit a cigarette, and said quietly, "You know, we ain't the angels people think we aren't. We've all made mistakes, but that little dog reminded us what loyalty looks like. Guess we needed that reminder." Walter nodded, his voice trembling as he whispered, "You saved us." The biker smiled faintly. "No," he said. "You saved us." In the weeks that followed, Walter became a part of their world. They visited him often, brought him groceries, and checked in whenever. They rode past his neighborhood. He would wave from his porch, Daisy barking excitedly as the rumble of engines echoed down the road. News of what had happened spread around town. People who once crossed the street to avoid the reapers began to see them differently. The same men who had been labeled as outlaws became local heroes overnight. They didn't ask for fame or gratitude. They just kept showing up where they were needed. They started a small community fund to help struggling seniors with pet care, inspired by Walter and Daisy's story. But the most touching moment came a few months later. When winter arrived, Walter's health began to decline, and one night he was taken to the hospital. After collapsing at home, the bikers took turns visiting him, always making sure Daisy was cared for. When Walter woke up, weak but smiling, Daisy was curled up at the foot of his hospital bed, wearing a tiny jacket embroidered with the Reaper's patch. Walter passed away peacefully a few weeks later, not alone, not forgotten, but surrounded by people who had become his family. At his funeral, a line of motorcycles stretched down the road, engines humming softly like a final prayer. The leader carried Daisy in his arms as he stood beside the coffin, whispering a silent promise. "She's safe with us now." And they kept that promise. Daisy became the club's official mascot, their little guardian angel who reminded them every day that kindness could come from anywhere, even from an old man with nothing left but love. They built a small memorial outside their clubhouse, a wooden bench engraved with the words "Walter and Daisy, love never rides alone." When people pass by, they still see that bench and ask about the story. The bikers smile and tell them how one man's plea for his dog changed their hearts forever. Because sometimes the toughest men hide the gentlest souls, and sometimes the smallest act of compassion can ripple farther than anyone could imagine. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let the world know that good people still exist and that kindness can change lives. Comment below, what would you have done if you saw that old man standing there, begging to save his dog? Would you have helped? We'd love to hear your thoughts.